An eye doctor was having his 40th birthday and gathered lots of friends and family in his house. His wife had made him a surprise cake and led her husband blindfolded to a table where the cake was placed. Eagerly, the doctor removed and looked down on the cake and immediately burst into a crazed laughter. For there in front of him was a huge cake with 40 marzipan eyes. The guest asked him why he laughed, and after some minutes of laughing and whipping his eyes, the doctor said, "I'm just thinking of my buddy who will be 15 next week, who is a gynecologist." Howard had felt guilty all day long. No matter how much he tried to forget about it, he couldn't. The guilt and sense of betrayal was overwhelming. But every once in a while he'd hear that small inner voice trying to reassure him. "Howard, don't worry about it. You aren't the first doctor to sleep with one of your patients, and you won't be the last." But invariably, the other voice would bring him back to reality. "Howard, you're a veterinarian." An old woman came into her doctor's office and confessed to an embarrassing problem. "I fart all the time, Dr. Johnson, but they're soundless and they have no odor. In fact, since I've been here, I've farted no less than 20 times. What can I do?" "Here's a prescription, Mrs. Harris. Take these pills 3 times a day for 7 days and come back to see me in a week." Next week, an upset Mrs. Harris marched into Dr. Johnson's office. "Doctor, I don't know what was in those pills, but the problem is worse. I'm farting just as much, but now they smell terrible. What do you have to say for yourself?" "Calm down, Mrs. Harris," said the doctor soothingly. "Now that we fix your sinuses, we'll work on your hearing." Woman walks into a psychiatrist's office and says, "Hey doc, you know how we have been talking about Freudian slips? Well, I had the most amazing one last night. I was eating dinner with my mother and I meant to say please pass the salt, but instead I said, 'You ruined my life.'" A rather senile old lady went to her doctor complaining of draining and a feeling of fullness in her ear. After the examination, the doctor initiated a conversation that went as follows. "Doctor, why, madam? I think you have a suppository in your ear." Lady, "Eh? Madam, you have a suppository in your ear." Lady, "Eh?" Doctor, shouting, "In your ear, a suppository." Lady, "Oh, thank goodness. Now I know where I put my hearing aid." A woman came to the psychiatrist worried. "Doctor," she said, "I can't sleep at night. When I'm in the next room, I have this dreadful fear that I won't hear the baby if he falls out of the crib at night. What should I do?" "Easy," said the doctor. "Just take the carpet off the floor." There was a costume party at a mental hospital. The theme of the party was war. The first person comes up onto the stage and says, "I'm an atomic bomb." He gets his applause and steps down. The second person comes up and says, "I'm a hydrogen bomb." Again there is applause and he steps down. And then a naked little man comes up to the stage and says, "I'm dynamite." Everybody runs away hysterically. When one of them is asked why, he says, "Didn't you see how small his fuse was?" There was this man in a mental hospital. All day he would put his ear to the wall and listen. The doctor would watch this guy do this day after day. So the doctor finally decided to see what the guy was listening to. So he put his ear up to the wall and listened. He heard nothing. So he turned to the mental patient and said, I don't hear anything. The mental patient said, "Yeah, I know. It's been like that for months." The doctor tells the patient he's got only 6 months to live. But the patient doesn't pay his bill on time, so the doctor gives him another 6 months. Benefits of having Alzheimer's. You can wrap your own presents, and also you are always meeting new friends.